double goal coach certified. So I need your first name and your last name and your email address. Just text it to this number right here.
All right.
And keep in mind, we don't share this information with anyone. This is just for our records. Put your cell phones in the air when you're done.
Okay.
All good, Joe?
Joe's good.
All right. Now I'm going to break everyone up into 4 teams. All right, 4 teams. And I'm going to give you about a minute and a half to talk amongst your new teammates. And I want you guys to find out who can hold a halfway push-up the longest. The person that holds the longest is going to win his team a free notebook today. Okay? Is everyone clear on what I'm asking? Is everyone clear on that?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to break you up into teams. Count off by 1, 2, 3, 4. One's
okay.
here,
1, 2,
2's
3,
here.
4. Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4. So my 1's over there, my 2's over there, the 3's over there, and the 4's over here. And let me know when you've picked that guy. And if you're not clear on what a halfway push-up is, it's right here.
All right.
Can you guys see that clearly?
Yeah. I'm going to pick Joe from my group.
All right, Joe.
So you want the groups to just nominate one person, right?
Right. So we'll need at least 4 people.
All right.
On my whistle, I want to see who's a competitor in here. I really do. I want to see who's a competitor. Everyone's done, and we get everyone down.
Yep.
Who's ready to hold it?
So you're seeing who can hold it the longest?
Yeah, who can hold it the longest? Okay. Whoever can hold it the longest is going to win his team free notebooks.
All right. Is that harder to do than a plank? I'm assuming. I've never tried to do it.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. Definitely is.
Cool. Okay. So you can pretend. How long? So you would have us all go at the same time?
Yeah, I'll have you go, and it'll be I'll give you about a minute and a half to pick the person, and then we'll have those 4 people pick the team, and then, you get the coaches into it.
Okay.
And then I'd ask, why is it that I would start? Who wants to take a stab as to why I would start the workshop like that?
So how would you finish up that exercise? Like, what would you say after, let's say all 4 teams held the half push up, and let's say our team held it the longest? What would you say there to wrap that up?
Well, the team isn't going to hold it. Just one person's going to hold it.
Right. But let's say my Joe was my guy from my group, and he won. He beat everybody else.
Congratulations, Joe. We'll congratulate him, and then have all right. Congratulations, Joe. You won your team. You won your team a bunch of notebooks. Everyone, let's go back to our seat. Let's go back to our seat now that our arms are nice and tired, so we could take take notes.
Okay. Then go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Now, who in here wants to take a stab as to why I would start a workshop like that? A workshop about positive coaching alliance.
Probably just to see how positive we were before you did anything. Like, were we screaming at each other? Were we cheering for each other? How supportive? How positive are we already? That was my guess.
That's a great answer. Kelly. The reason I did it, because if you're like me, you heard the term positive coaching alliance and you said, oh God, here comes someone that's going to tell me winning's not important. That is the furthest thing from what we're trying to accomplish here today. Winning is a very important thing, but as you can see, everyone's not going to win. Everyone is not even going to get to the next. Some people might not even play in high school. How we teach these youth, these kids, are going to be the most important part of the process today. Is everyone clear with me on that? So as a double goal coach, your goal is to win, like I just proved, but it's also to teach life lessons while you're coaching. All right, so who's Positive Coaching Alliance? The best way to describe it is it's a movement in which we train well over 80,000 coaches, which means we're touching 3 million youth. There's 3 million youth reached. We conduct well over 2,500 workshops just like this, where we give the opportunity for coaches to learn from each other and get better and get more positive as they're in this process. So Aswand, how did Aswand get into coaching? Aswand, I started playing football at 7, and in a sport where there's so much turnover, Aswand was very, very lucky to have these 3 men be coached by these 3 men, because all 3 of these men retired at their programs. Coach Malloy is the winningest coach in Maryland high school football history. Ken Sparks, he recently passed away, but he retired as a head football coach at Carson Newman College. And Chuck Priori at Stony Brook, he signed a contract that'll make him the head coach there until 2022. So I was lucky to see what consistency is all about. I was lucky to know what the big picture is all about. I was lucky because I just understood what loyalty is all about. So that's what positive coaching was to me. No matter how bad things were as a player, I knew that these 3 men were going to be there regardless. nervous. So that's me. With that being said, Kelly and Joe, I'd like to hear what does positive coaching mean to you guys?
I think, if I think about mentors that I had in my life, I had some that were really specific that stuck out for people that I just wanted them to be a part of my life outside of the sport. And there were others that as soon as the season ended, I never wanted to see them again. So I think in terms of positive coaching, the ones that impacted my life as a person, not just me as an athlete, were the ones that I would definitely define as a positive coach.
How about you, Joe?
I would say as a coach, encouraging and, really being a champion for the kids and just celebrating their success.
I didn't quite hear you, Joe.
Say it again, Joe.
I said I stole that from Mia. Celebrating their success.
You stole it from Mia?
From Mia Hamm, sorry.
We met Mia Hamm a couple months ago, and Joe now thinks he's Mia Hamm's best friend. So he stole that from her, he said.
Well, what did he say? I didn't hear what he said.
He said being a champion for the players.
All right, so that all great answers. With PCA, we like to describe it as an atmosphere that best supports the youth, the best supports the development of the youth. Supports. What I mean by support is no different than a spouse. So imagine you had a bad day at work, or there was traffic, and you walk home and you get home and they're just negative. They just have an angry vibe. You wouldn't like it very much. So it's no different if you're coaching and you get to practice and you're talking to a kid about what they did last week. So it's an atmosphere, it's creating an atmosphere that supports the best possible performance. There's no way you're going to get the best possible performance if you're not supporting him or her. All right, so the power of positivity. We have well over 100 members that sit on our advisory board. One of them is Miss Barbara Fredrickson. She's a psychology professor at UNC. And this is not a presentation. I want you guys to be very clear. This is a workshop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read what's in black, and you guys are going to read what's in blue. Is everyone clear on that?
Yep.
All right, so Miss Barbara Fredrickson says there is a perception that the best way to get what you want out of employees or players is by negativity or threats. But
negativity doesn't work as well as positivity.
Positive emotions are especially contagious, and
leaders' emotions are more contagious than anyone else's. I think it says.
Leaders' positive emotions.
There you go.
Right. Now, show of hands, who are the leaders on your team? Everybody's hand should be raised. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys are the coaches. You guys set the plan, you have the vision, you go out and you get things done. So your emotions are going to be very contagious. If you walk on that practice field, you got to be energetic. You got to be running around. You got to just be excited to see kids playing, right? So you guys are the leaders. Is everyone clear on that?
Yeah.
Now, this is just an article that was written a few years ago, and it's starting to show that the negative coach is starting to be weeded out. It's cool that we're actually being featured in mainline media and in a magazine like Sports Illustrated. And you guys can check out our website later. Now, negativity. What exactly does negativity do? So imagine I walked in here and I started talking to you, Kelly, about all the games you guys lost and everything you could have did wrong. Or Joe, I was like, man, what a terrible call that was. When you had what would you guys be saying right now? Would you guys? I just would hate it, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun.
It just wouldn't be fun, right? Now it's just going to distract you from the task. So that's what negativity does. It just simply distracts you from your task. So who in there agrees with me? Positivity works better than negativity.
Hands up.
Is anyone in disagreement with that statement?
I think I'm just going to put it out there. I think sometimes when my players are messing around or they're not paying attention and I yell at them with like a harsh voice, I think it does make them pay attention better. So I think negativity works sometimes.
Well, why do you think that's negative?
I don't know. I just think sometimes
at that point,
I'm not
positive.
Yeah, but I'm not being like friendly. Like I'm not like, oh, okay, guys, let's get together. I'm like, come on, wake up. Like, what are you doing? I told you to be doing that. Sometimes they just need a wake up call, I think.
Understood. But I'd argue with you saying that's a positive thing because sometimes we do need that. So maybe we have to change the perception of what is positive and what is negative.
Okay.
All right. But we'll get into some practices today. We're going to get into all these things and we'll promise to have that question answered for you.
Okay.
So, but my next question is, why is there so much negativity in sports? I guess you sort of started to allude to it a little bit.
What we grew up with.
What you grew up with,
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah.
How about you, Kelly?
I think a lot of it's just the pressure that we put on student athletes these days. I think they are trying to just they're trying to be perfect, and they don't have room for error and mistakes and failure. They don't see that as part of their growth. They just feel like if I fail, I mess up. If my coach takes me out of the game, it's because I suck. And I just find that a lot of them, it's pressure from parents, pressure from the coaches, pressure from their peers, just to perform all the time and be great all the time. And they don't give themselves a break.
Especially in my sport. I mean, I played football, and it was just college coach after college coach coming in and checking us out. And that put a great deal of pressure. If you weren't a Division I guy, you just felt like you weren't worthy.
Yeah.
You know, and that point you're making that's why there's so much negativity, because especially in my own life, you just weren't. Everyone's not a Division I guy. Everyone's not even a college football player. So you just felt like you weren't worthy of being on the team. So that's a great point. Joe, anything you want to add?
No, I agree with all that. That sounds right to me.
All right. So PCA's vision is to use sports psychology to create the best practices. I repeat, the best practices, not the words, not the things that are just coming out of your mouth. We're going to get into some practices, some things that you actually do on the field that's going to create a positive environment. So we're not just here talking to you. Some of the things you're going to get a copy of this book, and I definitely recommend, highly recommend that you check out pcadevzone.org. It's kind of like a WebMD in which you could type in a problem, anything you're having with your parents, anything you're having with your players, and you'll get an answer back. You'll constantly get emails. I think it's every 10 weeks of weekly talking points and things like that. So we'll get into more of that after. So grab a ball, and I'm actually taking this one from you, Kelly, but I'm gonna grab a ball and throw it at you. What makes a great youth sports experience?
Do you throw it to me? All right.
Yeah, throw it to you, Kelly.
I think the kids have to have fun. If they're not having fun, they're not enjoying themselves, they're not going to give you 100% of anything. So I think that's most important.
Okay, fun. Joe, we'll toss the ball to Joe.
I think they want to hang with their friends and be one of the people on the team.
Okay, all great answers. At PCA, we've broken them down into three things. One, kids want to feel connected, which we refer to as we fill in the emotional tank. Kids want to know that they can improve, and we call that the elm tree of mastery. And kids want to act with integrity, which we call that honor in the game. And we have an acronym named ROOTS, and we're going to get into some practices and things like that as we go forward. Now, if these three things were to happen, if there was a way that we can sort of incorporate all three of these things, what do you think would happen to youth sport today?
Kids might stick around more.
It'll do what?
They might stick around more, I hope. Like, back here.
Yeah, stick around. I got you. How about you, Kelly?
I think they would give a lot of effort and they would succeed more. They'd be proud of themselves and they'd be enjoying what they're doing, having fun.
All right.
Winning games.
Right. Great answers. All right, and that was kind of it, guys. I think at that point I'm just gonna go right into the first principle. So.
Okay, you'd go into filling emotional tanks?
Yeah, I'll go right into the filling emotional tank. I thought about playing the Herm Edwards video, but it felt like it could be a little bit too much because I kind of got them talking. And then what I'm gonna do is take the person that dropped first and then go right into a scenario and then go right into the emotional tank part.
Okay. Are you prepared to go into the emotional tank? Because you have time. If you want to go into that.
I could start it, but it's going to be hard to do it with no one here. But just like before, we have another.
I'd love to hear what you do with it.
It's by Maya Angelou. Before we get into the emotional tank, let's read this quote by Maya Angelou. All right, let's read it together. Just like before, I'm going to read the black part. You guys read the blue part. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but
people will never forget how you made them feel.
All right, give me that first guy, the first one to drop the push-up, the drop on the push-up at the beginning. Give me the first one to stand up.
It was that guy over there, yeah.
All right, so he stands up. I want his team right here, and I'm going to join you. I'm going to give you guys about 15 seconds to completely tell him how terrible of a job he did by dropping first. Just tell him how bad he did. Tell him everything. I'm going to join you. It's going to be really fun. And we're going to just tell him how bad he did, everything he did wrong. The fact that he cost us the notebooks, he didn't even know. I mean, what if I could have used it? What if I needed those notebooks? All right. So 15 seconds on my whistle. Let's go. Let's drain them. There we go.
Oh my gosh, that was terrible. I can't believe you dropped.
How did you drop the push-up?
You have no strength at all. I needed a notebook. You ruined it for us.
Really?
Terrible.
All right, 15 seconds is up. Okay, guys, now stay there. Stay in that same position. Let's tell him something positive. 15 seconds. Let's go.
Hey, it was a good try. At least you volunteered. Nobody else in the group wanted to volunteer, so thanks for stepping up and doing that. Your form was good.
You see how difficult that second part was, guys? You see how much effort it took to actually find something good about the fact that he failed. So what we've done at Positive Coaching Alliance is we've gotten a ratio that we call 5-to-1. We give 5 positives to 1 criticism. Now, when I first read it, when I first saw it, I'm like, no way. My first high school coaching job, we went 0-10, and I would rip kids. I'd be saying things that I would not even want to repeat. And I'm like, 5 positive things to 1 criticism is unbelievably ridiculous. But as you guys can see, it's very, very, very difficult to tell someone that they're doing a good job when they just don't have the ability. Someone may not have the ability, and it's very easy for us to rip them. It's very easy for us to ruin them, but we don't know what that kid is going through. We don't know if, what's his name, whatever his name would be, had no strength training. We don't know if he just wanted to volunteer. If he just wanted to help the team, no one else would volunteer, so he stepped up. So you see how easy it was at the beginning to give him grief about dropping the push-up. So we said things like we're sarcastic, we're ignoring him, we're doing a bunch of things that drained his tank. So what is the thing that coaches can do? And at this point, back to Phil Jackson. He's one of our, remind me, Kelly, he's one of our main.
He's actually the spokesperson for PCA. He's a national advisory board member, but he's also a spokesperson. Okay,
he's another national advisory board member, but he's also the spokesperson, and we all know him. So before I play this video for you guys, I want you, let's read the quote. About that time, Jim's book shows up, and
positive coaching becomes an influence in my life.
The 5-to-1 ratio, 5 praises to 1 critique. And of course, the rest we know is that these Bulls won 3 championships in a row. Hold up.
That's okay. You can pretend that we saw it because we've seen it.
Yeah, I'll play the video.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go through a scenario where it's done the right way. Let me get I need 2 volunteers to come up. I need one to be a quarterback and the other one to be a receiver.
Okay. I'll be the quarterback.
Now what's going to happen is the receiver is going to, run a great route. He's going to throw a wide open pass, and I want you to drop it. And I'm going to be the coach. I'm going to be a coach that drains your tank.
Okay.
Happens, drops. Pretend you drop it.
Yep.
Kelly, you dropped it. You dropped the ball. Great. Now we lost. All right. So did I do any coaching there? Did I do anything but state the obvious?
No.
Right? Was there anything productive done?
No.
Yes or no?
No, I'm now scared.
All right. So now let me give you an example of doing it the right way. Boom, you drop the ball. Hey, Jimmy, first of all, great route, but can I give you some suggestions? Great route. But the great route, I love the swim move. I love the way you got open and got into the end zone. But next time, if you put your hands like this, tuck it, you have a better chance to catch the ball. That was the second part. What did I do right on that time? What did I say? What was the first thing I did?
You praised him for the great route. So he did something right off the bat.
Wait, say that again?
You told him something he did well right off the bat. You told him great route. So you weren't jumping down his throat because he dropped the ball right away. You were actually talking about what he did to get there.
Okay, I thought you said something else. Now first of all, I avoided a non-teachable moment. I asked his permission. Hey, Jimmy, can I give you some tips on how to do things? Then I moved into the sides and I criticized him in private. But the most important thing to me was I used if-then statement, an if-then statement. If you make your hands like this, tuck it, see the ball in, more than likely you're going to have a better chance. If then. All right. Does anyone have any questions on what an if-then statement is? Joe, you good?
No, you got it.
All right, now the buddy system. This is some really great stuff. The buddy system is when we're creating a team. The buddy system is when, how can I describe this? When we're praising effort. All right. We're telling our teammates the things that you're doing that are positive, and we're using the teammates to do it. So it's one thing for us as a coach to say you're doing a great job, but if we're using the teammates and their peers, they hear it a lot more because we also do have to criticize. We also do have to coach. That's pretty much what the buddy system is. My favorite toolkit of all this is the positive charting. So let's say you were like me and I coached high school. We had very little support. Like I said, we went 0-10. And there was a lot of parent involvement, and the parents wanted to help their kids. If I would have thought of saying, hey, Miss Susan, how about you just write down, if you're going to watch practice, write down all the great things that Carlton's doing. Write down the fact that he sprints from the sideline. Write down the fact that he's jogging to the water cooler every time. He's not walking there. He's jogging to and from. If you could just write down everything he's doing that's positive so I could tell it to him, we're going to make a difference in this kid's life. And the next kid is going to want to come back. And that's where we lead into to retention and kids coming back. So the positive charting is a great opportunity to get your parents involved, especially if you were like me and you were struggling to get fan engagement. In the winner circle. So at the end of practice, we bring everyone in. If you're doing the positive charting the right way, these are the times that you emphasize, hey, Jimmy, I saw you sprint from the water cooler when we called water. I saw you didn't take a break. I saw you do all these little things that have been charted throughout practice. And then the elm tree of mastery. I have a for that one too. But
all right. Thank you. Did you want to show us the slide you have for that one?
Stop using. I'm reading mindset right now, and I'm reading all about like the fact that when we use natural talent, how much it ruins a kid's mind, and it's like, this is when I might have to like slow myself down a little bit because I'll get fired.
Yeah. Habits are hard to break sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, they are.
Right. As I'm reading it, I'm like, man. But anyway, I'll slow down. I'll stop for now.
Yeah. No, that was great. That was so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Such an improvement.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Did you feel better too? I felt like more of your personality was coming out because you weren't worried about what you were going to say. So I think that was great.
Yeah, because I was really worried about the push-up thing because I knew I didn't have a good plan for it. Yeah. But I knew I wanted to get them competing and doing something because when I hear PCA in my head, I'm like, they're just going to tell me winning's not important.
Yeah.
But I wanted to figure out a way to say, no, we like winning. It's just you're not going to get anywhere with the mentality of just win.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to happen.
Yep. It's good. What made me think of that? We just had a trainer retreat last weekend or a week and a half ago. And one of the trainers did that similarly. She broke them up into 4 groups. And she said she did a couple contests. So one of them was like physical, like hold a plank for as long as you can, similar to your half a push-up, nominate somebody to do that. And then she called it Thunderdome. And then the second round was nominate a person who thinks they have the longest middle name of the whole group. And then, she could do something like nominate somebody that thinks they can, whistle the longest. So they weren't all physical, but it was all competitions. And the group had to just nominate a person each time. So it's similar to what you were doing, but it just made me think of that. That was kind of a fun idea because everybody on the team would get a chance to contribute, even if they couldn't physically do something. Like maybe they had a great long middle name, or maybe the one was like, nominate the person you think was born the farthest away from here. Like, move the farthest away. So anyway, I just thought of that when you were given that idea. But I do like the idea of picking a person rather than saying everybody hold a half a push-up. Right. I think that was really smart. Yeah, that was good. Joe, did you want to start? Yeah, sure.
Like Kelly said, the improvement is drastic. I mean, the improvement is really tremendous. And that, I felt like you're talking to me, which is great. And I felt like Kelly said, starting to see a little bit of, who you are and your personality. smile once, twice in there. I could hear it. Can't quite see if you're smiling, but I think I got a couple out of you there. It was good. I enjoyed that. Kelly, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming in now a little bit, but you're okay.
I'm have to work on my wonky again. I have a tough time this week. But overall, just night and day better. And keep going in that direction. Keep going in the direction of, and really, that takes practice. That takes, kind of putting people in front of you and going through it, or doing it in the mirror, or, doing it in your room. And, I go over words all the time, and I've been doing it for 14 years, and I still, it gets smoother over time. It's like playing ball. It's like learning your route tree. You don't learn your route tree from the book, right? I mean, you learn your route tree in your feet, and it's the same way in a workshop. So the main thing I say is keep going on that. I will push back on one thing, if you don't mind. I would rather see, if you're going to do like a sort of mock tank draining, I'd rather see it's not somebody who actually lost a physical thing, because it feels to me like they might actually be a little embarrassed about that in the room, and you don't know, people's physical health and condition and stuff like that. So I might plan another thing where they're shooting like a mock free throw or something from a different sport, where, you missed the free throw, and do it like that, because that way, we're not really actually draining somebody's tank. I think you run the risk of doing that if it's something that they actually lost.
Okay.
So one of the tricky things I think we have to do, Aswand, and you'll be thinking about this more and more, is, we're really coaching these people. We're acting like the coach that we're asking them to be. And so our identification and awareness of their emotional state is really paramount in the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether we have to be careful, maybe there's people in the workshop who experience some kind of trauma in their lives. So if we're too loud, right, maybe that's, we have to be very aware of where they're coming from, and reading that the whole time during the workshop and adjusting the whole way. So I'm thinking of this more like a coach than like a teacher. I want these people to get out there. I want them to leave the workshop excited to use the tools, really inspired to use the tools. And I fear if it gets a little adversarial, if they don't kind of buy into me, then I'm going to have a tougher time with that. But I mean, you're going down this road hard, where, it's, like I said, it's a huge leap since the last time. It just, huge difference. You just got to keep pushing down that exact same road. Sorry, that was over there.
No, that's okay. That's okay. No, I agree. I think, one of the things I do sometimes, Aswand, if I do something like that, is I'll ask like the guy that lost, and I'll say in front of everybody, hey, are you okay if we just bust on you for a little bit? Or like, can you handle it if we, just for an example, would you be an example for me for a minute and let us drain your tank? And a lot of times they're like, yeah, that's fine. It's all a big joke, but I appreciate what Joe's saying about that. You never know who the person is. I agree. I think you had a big improvement from last time. I could tell you were prepared, just the whole setup there and everything. You're like ready to go. I really like the way you added more of your personal story in. That was something I think we suggested last time. Mm-hmm. And that makes a huge difference, because I know who you are and I know where you're coming from. And it's not just reading that, you played football at these levels. It's actually you on a personal level. And I think that's really important. There are a couple things you sprinkled in that I really liked. I love the way you put up the pictures of your mentors. I think that's huge. And especially because a lot of trainers will talk about mentor coaches, but to actually see a picture of those men, it's like, it makes it real. Like those are actual guys, and these are guys that had a big influence on me. And they were and you didn't put my coaches, you put my mentors. And I think that was really, I like that a lot. I thought that was really great. I like the fact that you were talking about, like, who are the leaders in the room, because it all goes through with like the power positivity that they have. And I thought that was great. When I push back, you're going to have a coach that's going to push back and say, well, I'm negative to my kids. I scream and yell. I don't think all this positive stuff is necessary. Sometimes coaches will say, well, you don't understand. I'm coaching football or, travel soccer. We're an elite team. These guys don't need positivity. They need tough love. And I just said that because I wanted you to be able to push back on that. And I did a nice job with it. I think it's okay to talk about how, negativity works in the moment. When you want a quick response, negativity works. You're going to get the kids to jump if you scream at them. But over the long haul, are you going to gain their respect? And are you going to gain their trust? And if you're ripping a kid apart every time he's doing something wrong, he's not going to trust you. And if they're not going to trust you, they're not going to commit to working really hard for you. So just be prepared that you're going to get somebody in the audience that's going to be like, this positivity stuff isn't going to work with my guys or my team. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I like the way you plugged the book. You plugged the dev zone. You did it well, and you did it quick, and you moved on. Some people spend so much time on that, and I thought that was really good, the way you just kind of touched on that and moved on. The other thing that I really liked too was when you were talking about your first job, that you said, my first job, we were 0-10. I ripped some guys apart. I said some things I probably wouldn't even want to repeat here. Again, it helps the coaches in the room feel like you're real. You're a real guy, and you've made mistakes, and they've all made mistakes, and that you've learned from it. So I think anytime you can throw in things like that, especially in a room of coaches, they have a lot more respect for you. Because sometimes when you come in representing the Positive Coaching Alliance, they're going to think that you're this 100% positive person all the time. And I think it's important to kind of say, hey, we got to get real. This is hard. And I wasn't always like this. And I realized I'd like you to go one step further, though, and say that because you were a pretty negative coach, or maybe at that season or every once in a while, what effect did that have on the players? I mean, you already said you went 0-10, but did you see any difference in the players you were coaching? Or something like, if I went back to coach that team again, this is how I would have done it, or what I've learned since then, something like that, to have them realize that that's who you were, and now you know better, and maybe you would have gone back and done something differently. Just a suggestion. I liked the scenario when you gave 2 different examples. Like when I missed the pass, the first one, you're like, what are you thinking? Like, I like that you did that. I thought that was really cool, because I think it was good of the coaches to be able to see you as negative coach and positive coach, but be able to pick out, what did I do differently? And not only what did you do differently as a coach, but how did I feel? So ask the player you were yelling at, Kelly or Jimmy or whatever it was. How'd you feel when I was saying that to you? And I mean, right away, just even through a computer screen, when you were screaming at me, I was like tense, and you could just feel yourself tense up. And then when you were like, hey, good route, I like the way you did that, just hold your hands a little differently, you're just relaxed. And that's one of the things that you didn't really touch on it when you talk about what negativity does, but negativity makes you tense up. And so you're going to scream at me for dropping a pass. I'm going to go back in the game, and now I'm tense. And my mind is thinking I'm on what I did in the past. I'm not thinking about what next play's coming. So to even get into a little bit of the psychology behind it, whereas the second time when you said, hey, I really like you had a good route. I like the way you did this, this, and this, move your hand position a little bit and you catch the ball better. I'm actually relaxed. And when I go out, next play, I know what I need to do better. I know what I need to change, and I'm ready for the next play. I'm not thinking about the last one that I screwed up. So just a tip to add into your workshops, because a lot of the coaches in the room are going to think, well, negativity works. But if you can give them a little touch of the psychology behind it and what negativity physically does to athletes when they're going out to play, you don't want athletes that are tense and thinking about what they just did wrong. You want them to think about what they're doing right and what they can do next. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I probably would, if it was a real thing, I'd ask the player, how'd you feel? So it'd be like us having a conversation.
Yeah,
and hopefully
exactly.
that gets the message out.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. And you have a good pace. You're moving through this quickly, so you have time to bring stuff out of the coaches too. The only other place that I think that would be a good example is when you did a really nice job. That slide that came up, I don't know if it's the one that's up right now, but the slide that was up that said, it said like ways to get receivable feedback, if then statements and asking permission, that slide there. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was down a little bit. Yeah, it was towards the end.
Yeah.
Like ways to give receivable feedback from the scenario. You did a really nice job at explaining that in your example. Like you asked permission, you used if then statements, you criticized in private, you did all that. I would actually ask the coaches in the room to maybe practice that. Like, okay, turn to somebody next to you and get an example of your sport and phrase it as an if-then statement. Pick whatever sport you coach and give me an example. Talk to the person next to you. How would you ask permission of a player? Give an example. Somebody sitting next to you, pretend one of you is the coach, one of you is the player. Actually role play, asking permission. Hey, Joe, would it be all right if I gave you a tip? And it seems kind of funny in a workshop, but if you get coaches to practice some of these things in a workshop, they'll be more likely to do it when they go out. Even with the buddy system. Go ahead, Joe. Were you going to add to that?
I wanted to tag a little bit because it My other thought relates to that. I think I'm glad you're reading mindset. I think that's fantastic. I think one of the really powerful things you can exhibit in a workshop is that you're also a learner, and that they have a lot to offer. We're not coming to this. The term I use a lot is don't walk into the workshop and see them from a deficit lens. Like we're not fixing bad coaches, right? You probably got a lot of pretty experienced, pretty solid coaches in the room. Hey, what do you guys do with this? You get a kid who's doing this. What are some? And the word I find to be really important in this is tools. I'm really focusing on, hey, I want you walking out of here with something you can do. And you did a real nice job saying, hey, this isn't about what you can say when you walk out of here. This is about practice. And I like that, And the tools are really I'm going to have them list them throughout the workshop, and they're not all going to be mine, right? I want some of their tools and say, well, what I do is this, and so, wow, that's a great one. Let's give it a name. Tools need a name, and tools are something you could give to another coach if they're struggling, or something that you can try if plan A, B, and C didn't work, and this one's plan D. But I hadn't thought of that one. That's a pretty good one. One thing I say a lot is I'm going to steal that. I'm going to tell other people in other workshops.
Yeah.
I'm picking up on this too, and that's really the core of mindset. And that's why I think it's powerful that you're reading it and addressing your own mindset in front of them. And have fun with it. Wow, that's coach. That's great. Sometimes I'll hear a great coach and I'll say, okay, are y'all listening? Because that's to me what a great coach sounds like, right? That's when I hear great coaching, that rings in my ear a little bit. And this young lady here, she might not be the most experienced person in the room, but she's got something going on, and that's a deal where I'm coaching them. I'm filling their tanks. And I'm honest about it. I'm not BSing them either.
Yeah. And that just on the same line is that too, Aswand, I think you did, again, you talked about the buddy system. You said, my favorite is positive charting. And this is how and I love the example you used with this parent. Like if I had a parent on the side, Miss Susie, I think you called her, whatever it is, she'd be looking for positive charting. Again, in the workshop, I would ask the coaches, how would you use positive charting? And have them talk about, because they might be doing a different sport. I had a bunch of swim coaches and I was like, seriously, in my head, I'm like, what do you chart in swimming? I wasn't even sure. So I said, how would you guys use positive charting? And I got all these great answers. Well, I would look for the flip turn. I'd look for the strong kick. I'd look for no breathing in the end zone. And I was like, this is great stuff that I didn't know because I was never a swim coach. So in the workshop, when I'm talking about basketball examples or soccer examples, or, they're not coaching a sport with a stick or a ball or a goal. So it was really cool. They got a lot out of it because I said to them, hey, how would you use your sport? Write down 3 skills in your sport that you could chart and keep the kids accountable for. And it was great because it was coming from them, not me. So I would definitely, anytime you see those tools at the end and you can get the coaches to give you ideas, give the group ideas, have them practice it in the workshop, that's going to stick and they're going to use it when they go out there. And that's how we change the behavior in the coaches, which will help develop the athletes. So those are my best suggestions. Aswand, you are ready. You're prepared. I love it. I just want you to pull more out of the coaches and have us practice it more in the workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Picture yourself as a coach to them. You're inspiring them just like you do with your guys out on the field. You know which guys need to go bump. You know which guys got the route right and still don't think they did. You can, if you see them as your athletes and get in your good coach mode, for me, that's a real, I don't believe, I'm a teacher most of my life. I don't believe in teaching anymore. I do believe a lot in learning.
Yeah.
This is a thing that we share and we do it together. And when they see that you're modeling that, they get real comfortable and open up a little bit, in my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
So Aswand, we have you scheduled right now, Saturday, August 3rd, and then August 14th are 2 opportunities that you have. So I'm checking with the Tampa chapter to see if you can do some of that workshop, do like a principal in that workshop on the 3rd. Jessica said she's not exactly sure who the trainer is going to be yet for that one. So we'll have to let you know on that one. But on the 14th, great guy, Jody McGarity, is coming into Miami. He's actually from Texas. And he's going to be coming in to do those 3 workshops. And so it's funny because Roshana got back to me today and she's like, I'll be there too on the 14th. So I said, well, I don't know if all 3 of you can do the workshop, but
His is pretty good.
It'll be a
I
good
took a couple of
opportunity
her.
for you. It'll be a good opportunity for you to work with Jody and see him and do part of it then. But in the meantime, since we have like almost a month before we get there, if you'd like to go through Elm Tree of Mastery or Honoring the Game with me like this, I'd love to have you practice it, because the more you practice, the better you're going to get.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to
sound
go through the other two.
Okay.
Because I have scenarios and ideas for the other two. So.
Okay.
You're gonna love Jody. Jody, you're gonna learn a lot from Jody. He's a great guy. And
He is.
really, really good perspective. He actually coaches a charter school basketball team, which is collected from a number of charter schools. He's pulling kids from everywhere, and he's just got a really good feel and demeanor, and he's bright as hell. And he's just, I learn from him every time I see him. You're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm glad he's going there.
Great,
I think it's great. Yeah. So
and
let me know.
You're flying him out?
Yeah, we're flying him into Miami. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. Which I was surprised when I saw. I was like, wow, he doesn't usually fly, but I mean, he's not usually one of the guys that goes all over the place, but I guess he wants to go to Miami. So
Cool.
But it'll be good.
I mean,
I've been
getting in touch with me and Christy had a conference call last week. So there's definitely a lot of interest. It's just a matter of, I think, just getting more people excited about it.
Absolutely. And with, you and Rashana are going to be the baseline trainers off the ground. So it's pretty cool that you're going to get a chance already to see some.
She's from Maryland too. That's how crazy life is. She's from Maryland, like same conference. I played at Good Counsel and she played at Riverdale Baptist, and it's same conference, everything. And we meet at a St. Thomas Aquinas game in Miami. Like,
wow.
It's like we didn't even know each other. So now we'll be able to work together.
I love it. I love it. Yes. So let me know. I'm off tomorrow and Friday, but let me know maybe a day next week that you have to go over the Elm Tree of Mastery and Honoring the Game, and I'd love to do that with you.
Okay, yeah, we'll set that up next week. Thanks for the feedback, guys.
All right, thanks, Aswan. Happy 4th.
All right, see you guys.
Take care.
Thanks, Joe and Christy.